You're a master storyteller, a chief marketing officer.
Got to work with like some great brands. So I work with Chick-fil-A, I work with Home Depot.
How companies present their brand, their
Yeah.
stories is way more important now from a lead generation point of view.
So we went from like a few thousand followers to several 100,000 followers in like a month.
Does it really matter unless your brand is spot on if you're telling the right story?
You have to add value to people first before you can ask anything of them.
Mack Kitchel, my brother. I haven't even known you that long, but I feel like, yeah, you're one of my best buds now, right? Let's go. I don't know where to begin. You're a master storyteller, a chief marketing officer. You've had a crazy experience. Would you mind giving, I don't know, as long as you want elevator pitch, long car ride, whatever.
Well, someone asked me last week, I was playing golf with some guys. I was like, what do you do? And I never really loved that question because it's like, then you surmise like your work to that. And so I was like, well, first of all, I'm trying to keep 4 kids alive. That's the first goal. Like of all things, you got to keep them alive. But no, I feel like it's paramount and it's core to like what I do as being a dad. Like we're just gonna jump right in the deep end of the pool. I didn't have a dad growing up. My parents divorced when I was 2. So from 2 to 8, I didn't have a father in the home.
Right.
My oldest is 8. Right. My youngest is 2. So like I'm getting these years that are incredible. Everything I do it's definitely positioned around that because I want to be like a great father, a great dad to them. And so the what of, what I do and the work and all that, like my daughter last night, this is so poignant. I didn't even think about this. She comes in and we had to put everybody to bed. It was like 9:15 and I was like working on my computer and she comes out, she's 8. She's like, Dad, what are you doing out here? I was like, oh, I'm just, working on my stuff. She's like, I don't like it when you're out here by yourself. I was like, why don't you like it? She's like, well, because I want you to be cuddle and snuggle with me. I was like, well, you're supposed to be asleep. And she's like, well, tell me what you're doing. I said, hun, everything I'm doing in life is for my family, for you. And so I'm working and hopefully I can make enough money so you can do gymnastics, you can do soccer, you can go to this bougie Christian school we get. You can do all these things. But like, I'm doing it for you. Like I'm doing this for you. And she it was just a very like amazing moment, her giving me a hug and understanding.
Oh, she got it.
She totally got it. And, she gets it on another level too. I'm like, all right, we don't have to make, cause she's asking like, how much can we go make more money? And like, it's not about that.
She says doing it for me. How about some more?
Yeah. How about some more? No. So that's first and foremost 4 kids, keeping alive. So I'll just take you through real quick the last 20 years and hopefully like less than a minute. So graduated high school, went in the Army, did 3 years overseas. Have I told you that? Yeah. So I did the Army, went to Germany. I had a couple scholarships. I was MOS. I was a 19 Delta, Cab Scout. So we were on Bradleys, which were a small tank, Humvees, which you know what Humvees are, and then light. And then we actually had helicopters in our unit. Got to do that a couple of times.
Nice.
But I mean, I was young, dumb. I lived in Germany, didn't know what I was doing.
Some direction though, some discipline.
Totally. They would not allow you to not have discipline.
Right.
I remember it was, we had 30-second showers in basic and 10 seconds to get wet, 10 seconds for soap and 10 seconds to wash off. And they were just standing there doing it, and that'll humble you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lots of funny.
Yeah. I imagine.
Army, got out, came back, started school. My parents were from Florida. So I was in Florida.
Okay.
Halfway during school, got activated again with the National Guard because it was 2004 Iraqi war. Went to an Air Force base for about a year while I was in school. And then after that, I was like 23, 24. And I was just like, man, I'm ready to get to it. Moved to Atlanta. Started working with a leadership expert named John Maxwell.
There we go.
If you've heard of him. So I had the privilege of working alongside John and a bunch of other really talented people for 3-4 years as an employee, traveling with John, doing all that fun stuff. And so at that point, our core values, one of our core values is team wins. So I learned team wins from when I was in the Army. Can't do anything by yourself. You got to have a team, The next one is live for the greater good. It's actually the 4th one, but live for the greater good was with John. And I got to see him speak and talk to people on a leadership level, all about leadership, all about making your company better, yourself better. And then afterwards, he would say, hey, if you want to stick around, I'm going to talk for 10 minutes about something that's more important than leadership to me. And he would give the, gospel and preach the word. and everybody would stay,
Yeah,
he would
sure. Why
lead people
not?
to Christ, which was beautiful. But what I learned there was you have to add value to people first before you can ask anything of them. And so it was really beautiful where he had this like 5-to-1 ratio where he's like, if we're not adding value 5 times to people, we can't ask them for one thing. We can't ask them to give to a nonprofit. We can't ask them to be a part of something. We can't ask them to do whatever it is. Like, got to add value first. So that was live for the greater good. I didn't realize I was just unpacking all my.
Usually we're talking about like scoring leads, but no,
We will get there.
I don't want to talk about scoring leads.
We'll get to AI. We'll get to all the stuff. GEO, SEO, AI SEO.
Yep.
There's a lot of words. So get done with that and work with him. I leave there. I start my first little consulting thing. So I was doing graphic design and little things, but I got to work with like some great brands. So I work with Chick-fil-A. I work with Home Depot. I work with a lot of like sub-tier brands that you don't know the name, but were multi-billion-dollar brands, huge. So I was working with them. And then I started a web dev company and an SEO company in 2009 called Haystack, Be Found.
Yep.
And through that process, I realized that I was way better on the creative arm than I was on the technical SEO. And my business partner at the time was like all technical. It was all that. And he would always talk to me about all the technical stuff. And I'm like, yeah, but does it look cool?
Yeah.
Does it work? Does it tell a good story? Does it, those are my whole things in the SEO world. So we ran Haystack for 5, 6, 7 years. And then in 13, I rolled that into Campfire.
Campfire
Social. Where I operate now. So
what is the pitch of like, what is the specialty of
Campfire? So storytelling has always been, so we've really believed that, tell better stories, our tagline. So, whenever you're around a campfire, you don't really remember the stuff around it. You remember what was said.
Yeah.
And you remember it's a time of like, all big decisions are made around a campfire. All intentional conversations are made around a campfire. All the things that make life meaningful happen around a campfire. You can't have a campfire and people hanging out without talking about something important.
There's no distractions. There's just a conversation.
They're all kind of looking at the same place. That's so tell great stories. And so historically, we've been social media. So in 2015, we launched with a big international development firm. They're about $13 billion under asset. We managed a lot of their properties for them and learned how to really tell stories and do it consistently.
Was this all before Donald Miller?
Oh, StoryBrand. We ain't done it yet. Like with SEO, it's like it's constantly changing. It's constant. Everything is constantly moving now. Like with like AI SEO, AEO, GEO, all these terms and this stuff that's happening. You got to stick up with it. And so we had to learn how to continuously tell a story that people wanted to hear.
Right.
And do it every day and posting every day. And so we really cut our teeth on that, which was really cool. And so that's historically. Now I do a lot of fractional CMO work, Chief Marketing Officer work. And then we are really becoming a creative agency, basically like an agency where we'll do campaigns, paid ads, all that, but it's all story driven.
All right. I'm going to set you up here. I don't know where this will go, but like, is it funny to you as an SEO person who was more worried about storytelling? Because we were talking about Gary Vee's like him or dislike him. He's right about one thing, like whether you follow your leads, have proper attribution, all these things, like, does it really matter unless your brand is spot on if you're telling the right story? And now with AI, all your intuition, maybe you're a decade early, but like all your intuition it's about intent. It's about intent. And now AI is making that more possible because it's bringing in traditional SEO and social all into this. So earned channels are back on top, right? But like everything about AI, SEO, or any query in the chatbot is about intention and answering that intention correctly. And it's way more about so if you get them to the website, is it converting? Are you telling the right story? Are you earning that trust for them to give up an email or to become a lead? Like, is that interesting to you? Like, as you start thinking about where Campfire Social goes, how companies present their brand, their stories, it's way more important now from a lead generation point of view.
Yeah. And it's more effective too. I think the interesting about in general, like chat and Gemini and all that is that there is some bias in the sense of like the people that are programming it and creating it, like they're going to create bias in it. But for the most part, it's like what works.
Right.
They're going to follow what works. Yeah. Whereas the sales back in the day of like Google was like, just buy to be at the front, right? And it's,
Mhm.
and it's still around for sure. But AI is like what works. It's interesting.
And social's about what works too. If you're
Social's
on a
about-
page longer, then the algorithm's just going to keep feeding that content.
And everybody, like the word viral is like, what relevant was 20 years ago. I want to
Yeah.
go viral. I want to go viral. And
Right.
it's like, that's what people want because in a spark, you can have something that goes wild
Right.
and sells a bunch of whatever the widgets are.
Yep.
And so it's like, all right,
And you can do it with no followers now, which is the amazing.
totally.
You got no followers going
Yep.
complete million views,
Yep.
right?
So case study of ours, your kids are older. My kids are young. I have 4 kids, twin 2-year-olds. Surprise. I have a 4-year-old.
Right, for starting late.
It's a lot.
You should have started earlier.
That's a whole other story. But so when pandemic hit, my daughter was 3-ish, 4-ish, right?
Mhm.
And I don't know if you've heard of Pete the Cat. Never heard of Pete the Cat.
No.
So Pete the Cat, 60 million books sold, big retailer, incredible storyteller. It's great. It's about this cat that's Pete that has a little bit of a personality and all this. 3 seasons on Amazon Prime. So they had a whole television show with it, which was great. But we started working with them right when COVID hit.
Okay.
And we did a bunch of different stuff with
Yeah.
them. But the one thing that we did, they had a couple thousand followers, no real engagement,
Right.
nothing like that. But they had sold a ton of books, right? So when the pandemic hit, we were like, every single day, we're going to do story time. James is the owner. He's the artist of Pete. And then his former wife she would write all the stories. So we're like, James, you're going to read every day, just a little book story during COVID, you're going to go live and read a book story. So he did that. The first night we checked it, we got about 3,000 followers the first night. He was like, that's cool. It's like, let's do it again. The next day he got 10,000 followers. And then for the next day, every day for 3 weeks, it was 10,000, 10,000, 15,000. We were getting all these followers. It was going. So we went from a few thousand followers to several 100,000 followers in a month.
And what was the intention you were capturing? What was the demand that was there for that?
So it goes back to we just wanted to add value. People were at home. Everybody was afraid. The world was a scary place, but you still have kids that don't understand it. And you got to be a parent, you got to be a dad. And so what we did was we gave an hour of relief for the parents where we told them a story. Yep. He taught them how to draw. He's like, here's how I draw Pete. Pete's happy today. Pete's not happy today. And then he would do different things. And so he kind of put on a show over time, but it was adding value to people. We wanted nothing of them. We didn't ask them to follow us. It was all free. It was all going live, but we were reading stories and creating these moments of joy for kids in a time where it was you remember 2020. 2020 was tough, right? It was tough.
Yeah.
So it's that kind of thing over and over and over again. So to answer your question, seeing all that now, I think it's great to see. I think it's still trying to convince businesses and people that that's what matters. Their story matters. Can we just throw some ad dollars at it? I'm like, you can.
Yeah.
It'd be more effective if you talk about what's important to you,
right,
and tell the world that, and then we can amplify that message.
I was looking at a stat. It was 70% of CMOs still put content marketing as their number one lead channel.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, it's still that important. I mean, paid was there. I mean, Google ads is obviously super important.
Yeah.
But again, it comes back to that quote. The old paradigm was, paid, earned, owned.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's earned, owned, paid. Because I think the idea that you have to earn this trust and that you're being validated, you can't get validated in an ad. That ad is too blatantly transparent that you want.
Unless you're a just hardcore commodity and no one really cares.
But instead, now you're getting validated by whether it's Yelp or social media, by Reddit. And now that's all being synthesized and consolidated by an AI LLM. Well, of course, that's the most important right now. And I don't know what the LLM is going to do with ads. I mean, I imagine they will, but for now if it's subscription, it's subscription. They'll get their money.
Yeah. Yeah. What's interesting too is, in this day and age, people really want to know what you really believe and what you really stand for. And when the founder, we work mostly with founder-led brands, when the founder or when the person that's the face of it says something or acts or does something, it means far more than anything else. That doesn't mean the other things don't work. The other stuff really does work. But it's like you said, it's when you activate whatever it is, knowing that you have this core base of like, you're a good human being, then it really takes off.
Right.
But you can't skip to that.
No, you can't.
Especially if you're in like a high trust environment and you're not like a widget for whatever, which is, yeah, it's actually refreshing, but it's still challenging. Right?
It's still challenging.
It's fun to solve that problem, but
yeah,
it's not easy.
Are you pitched all the time like me about these AI writing services? I've seen them. They're pretty amazing.
Yeah.
These blogs with thousands of blogs, all generated in a matter of 48 hours.
Yeah.
And then take it a step further. Would love to get your view on this. Vogue is using AI models. So we're all seeing AI, even if we don't know it or not, right? We don't know what's real all the time. And that's been happening for a while. And then what was the Spotify story? Velvet. Do you know the band? It's a Velvet Sky.
No.
It was like this, they got on whatever, Spotify's top 100 or whatever. Turns out it was an AI band. And then they had, there was someone cut it apart because there's a way to tell if it's AI music. But to the normal ear or the average, you couldn't tell. It was pretty decent rock band. So in this world of, and I always go back to the Seth Godin quote, is AI can write poems, but it can't write poetry. What's your view on that?
That's a great.
Is that?
Like we've talked about this a lot, and I feel like at some point it's like you want to climb the mountain yourself. You want to do it. Like you don't like,
and I want to see people do it.
I want to see people do it, and like I think AI can be super helpful. I think what's really interesting is like all of what we thought AI would be doing now, and all we thought it wouldn't be doing has flip flop. Right? It was like we thought it was going to be doing all the blue collar stuff. We thought it was going to be doing all this. Whatever. And what it's doing is taking away white collar jobs. It's taking all those
taking creative.
It's taking all this stuff out that you're like, okay, so then this is where, and then that area. But like, we go back and forth all the time on like how much to incorporate and how little, because you can, to the normal eye, you're not going to really tell the difference. But when you see something and you feel something in whatever it is, like there's a difference. And the interesting thing with what we're seeing at AI is not quite there. Well, it's not, but it's pretty far from like a video and storytelling. I've tried a lot of them and they're like hilarious.
Yes.
You look at them, you're like, but I'm very aware that like, it's not going to be, it won't even be a year before that'll probably be really good.
Yeah.
Like you'll be able to say, write me a whatever about this and this and this and tell me, and it's
going to media, put it in the whole social media.
Because it can already write a really good script. I've had it write scripts before and it's like, wow, that's pretty good, but it can't make it a movie. Like I can't pull that out yet. But yeah, I think so. We're working on an AI app for one of our clients, and the whole basis of it is like it's still the whole goal is to maintain that human connection, right? And so it's like, okay, well, if me and you talking right now, like I don't think people would want to hear two AI chatbots talk about SEO and storytelling.
We did release one of those. It didn't get a lot.
Yeah. I mean, maybe someone would like to hear that, but I think like our story matters. That's why, like, when you ask me, like, I lead with like, well, I'm a dad. I got 4 kids.
That's true.
I got like our oldest daughter's adopted. Our youngest daughter has Down syndrome. She has special needs. Like, like I'm learning all about what it's like to have a daughter with special needs, and it's a beautiful world. It's different than what I expected.
You're amazing the way you let us into your life on LinkedIn.
Oh, yeah.
It's really cool.
But I think that's the nuances of our lives and the things that make us human are the things that are going to matter even more moving forward. Right. So when I'm meeting with, like, we have a product for C-suite execs on LinkedIn to really gain traction. And the thing that I talk about the most is tell me about your personal, like, let me into you, because that's a story that can't be duplicated. It can't be, it can't be stolen. It's your story. Right. And so, and I think that's why we're seeing people want authenticity. They want the real stuff. And so that's why we're seeing this return from like search and generative search to what is real and what is there, it's naturally found it. It didn't find like the paid ad stuff and the, which is cool.
Yeah.
But it's still tough, it's still tough to do because there's a lot of shortcuts along the way.
Well, I just noticed the difference. So we started making commercials with VO3, right? And it was really fun. But we're an SEO agency making videos.
Yeah.
I put that in the hands of one of my buddies that he's a photographer. He knows light. He knows certain things. He knows what a good story is. And then I watch what he puts out and I was like, oh gosh, I'm not even supposed to be here right now, right? That is so cool. right? You've seen them, like the people on the glass bridge and the person falls back and it breaks and the whole people, you're like,
Yeah.
that was crazy,
Yeah.
right?
There's some, I know we talked about Gary Vee and all that, but
Yeah.
have you heard his one about, personalities with AI, like ads and all that?
Okay.
Basically saying like, it'll be really interesting to see when when the personalities really hit. And it's like Disney. So Jasmine and Ariel and, Frozen and all these characters that they own, all these characters that are not real. They'll have a whole set of characters that are all advertising people. That's like,
He's already doing that with his companions. I mean, it's very interesting. Apparently, I mean, you listen to Dario Amodei at Anthropic. I mean, there are whole teams dedicated to the personality of the AI.
because again,
we have to
matters, right? It's like, I remember when Elon first came on the scene with Tesla, my brother-in-law, he's partner at EY. He's probably the smartest guy I know.
Yeah.
No offense.
Yeah, sir. Trust me. Everyone that sits in that chair is smarter than me.
No, he's just an incredible guy. And he has this way of like seeing things right away. And I remember looking at Elon, hearing him talk. This was 10 years ago, whatever. And I was like, yeah, but he's like, he doesn't really say things like eloquently. Steve Jobs is kind of the model for being like perfected of like giving these speeches, these keynote speeches, and it like sounded great and all that. But like Elon doesn't. And he's like, yeah, but that's why it works.
Yeah.
He's like, that's why he works, because he has these quirks and these nuances. And I mean, I'm not pro Elon or whatever, but just noticing the fact that like, that's the human experience, right? There's those nuances, and AI is trying to build in.
Yes.
Like when I write like LinkedIn posts, I write them myself and then I put them into chat to help me like dialogue, and I have a whole persona for me.
Okay.
And I'm specific with like, I don't want to spell things wrong on purpose, but if I like use other words that don't like whatever, I'm like, leave that in, because that's me. Right?
Yeah, right.
Or like I have humor and like I inject my humor and things like that. And so I'll write it, put it in the chat, get something, then I'll finish it, post it, and then I'll put it back in the chat and say, here's what I did with it.
Yeah.
Like become more like me. Like I want this to be more like me. I think a lot of people do that. I don't think that's necessarily unique, but I want it to have that human element.
You do a great job of the founder-led voice in your company. Did you post that video of Charlie running down
the fishing one?
Did you post that one? That was cool. The other one I like is your son just dancing his tail on the escalator. I thought that was pretty amazing.
Man, he's wild. If you haven't had fun in life, go hang out with a 3 or 4-year-old boy.
Every day is the best day.
We had a daughter for 4.5 years before our son came along, and all I knew was like little dresses. She would sit in the corner and read her book. This guy comes in, he's like, he just doesn't care. I'll tell this story real quick. So we went to this Mexican restaurant, and it was me and my 2 sons. Like we walked in, the guy goes, how many? And I said 3. And he looks at me, looks at my boy, and he looks back at me and goes, how many? And I was like, 3. And I looked down. He had his pants down. And he was just playing with himself. Like he's no shame. Everybody in the restaurant is staring at me, and I'm like, oh my God.
Worst dad.
He's not even wearing a shirt. Like couldn't find a shirt for him. But that's it, dude. That's wild. But yeah, the fishing video was great just because it's like, that's life. Like it sums up life, and she's
link in the show notes. It's an amazing.
It's just it captures life perfectly. She's so excited. Thinks dad's the greatest thing in the world.
You caught a big ass. I mean, you held it up to the camera a little bit. Like it was.
I was very. That's one of those ass we caught. But it was great. It was like one of those cornerstone memories that we'll talk about for years and years and years to come. And like I said in the beginning, it's like I didn't get that with my dad. He's a great dad. And so I want to create those memories. And I want to do stuff that's, legacy moments where we're like, oh, remember up, So
I remember when you were helping me with Sure Oak and some branding stuff and storytelling, you told me this great quote. I don't know where you got it, but like give up the ghost, through why that's important for brands and what you mean by that.
That's actually from a talk that I gave like it's a decade ago now. Yeah, no, I think like I think that's another thing I learned from Maxwell. It's the difference between a scarcity mindset and abundance mindset. The scarcity mindset says like, hold it tightly, keep it all to myself. Don't give away any secrets. Don't do whatever. Like, don't be whatever. And not to promote Tesla again, but like giving away all their technologies for batteries.
Yeah.
It's like, whatever. Hate them or love them, like, irregardless, they did it. They let it out there. And I think like having an abundance mindset where like Bob Goff, Love Does, if you ever read his book, Love Does, incredible. He says he'll sit sometimes in a meeting with his hands up underneath the table so you can't see it. Because when you have your hands open, it's hard to be against someone.
Okay, I better, sorry.
But but if we sit here like this, even the posture of this is like, don't come at me, bro.
Right.
Like, I'm going to keep my stuff. And so I think like giving up the ghost is like, there's no secrets in SEO.
No.
You can look up whatever. Like Shore Oak is an incredible company, but what you do is continue to innovate and you follow what's happening.
Right.
It's not like you have this like, Bush Beans secret recipe sauce that like no one can ever replicate. Like, no, you're just better at operating than others are. And that's why you've grown to where you're at.
Right.
And so I think like being able to give up the secret, the ghost, the sauce, it only makes you a little bit more endearing. And I think that from a business standpoint, SEO is freaking hard. And it makes me realize, I can't do all that. I don't want to do all that.
Right.
I'm going to hire Nick and his team. It's like, okay, so cool. So we try to do that. And I'm actually challenging myself to be, even the stuff that I put out on LinkedIn, and just to be even more vulnerable.
Yeah.
More vulnerable with like the challenges of business, the highs of business, the team dynamics, like all that kind of stuff. And it's personal, man.
That's good.
It can get you a little bit. You're really open with your story.
I mean, if you want to go there, but I mean, when church put my testimony on YouTube, which I could share at any point, that was humbling, but I think it just opens so many doors. I mean, even on LinkedIn, when I bring my daughters into the videos and like that stuff performs.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not doing it because, if I put my daughters on there or my son on there, I'm guaranteed to get more clicks. It's like, no, that's who I am. Like, this is a family thing that I do.
Yeah.
Shore Oak is a place about family and about caring and the person next to you. So like for me, it comes from a very genuine place. I get it.
It humanizes you to a level that is not normal. Like we have a tendency to look at people as like in the professional space of who they are and what they do. But like when you see someone in an intimate part of their life, it creates like just a stickiness and a relationship that is deeper than like he provides SEO for me or whatever.
Right.
It's like, and that doesn't always, there's attrition, right? Like people, that stuff happens and all that. But I would rather do life like that.
Yeah.
Than not.
Well, so when you come into a new engagement and Mack's great because you do everything, but when you're talking about telling their story, when do you approach the founders? Because like sometimes I was with a plumbing company the other day and they're talking about SEO and the over reliance on paid ads. I'm like, yeah, that's great. And I started hearing their stories. I'm like, there's something way over here that you guys should be talking about. The way you pour into plumbers, the way that it means something that you're in North Gwinnett and this is an important community.
Totally.
And like,
well, especially in the service industry where you're letting someone in your home and you start sharing like heartfelt thoughtful stories.
Yeah.
There's a builder. Well, you've probably seen, what's the name of it? Rainy Blair. Have you seen Rainy Blair? Rainy Blair, they're like a rehab place in Roswell. And they have a little shop called Sunshine on a Rainy Day. And their son has special needs. I forget what he has, but he's in a wheelchair. And they're super open about it. And they built this whole thing for people with special needs and this whole kind of thing. And it's like, you have a million choices when you're going to do a home renovation, right? But this company has chosen to talk about something that's important to them. And so they're growing rapidly, not because but because they're open with their story.
Right.
And so for a plumbing company, it's like, I would look at them and say, you got a guy coming in my house for at least a day, if not like multiple days.
Right.
Or a crew of people coming in. Like I want telling your story and telling why you're about the community versus just, well, you were first on the list. I can, it's just moving from like a commodity where it's like lowest price wins, cheapest thing, like whatever, fastest wins to like, no, I really want to use them and I'm going to also promote them. So I'm going to be your megaphone. I'm going to leave you a 5-star review, which, oh, by the way, garners about 600 page views. So I'm like, it's just a waterfall of success that happens when you do that right.
Yeah. And I think it has to come from a really genuine place. Like you have to be that person. You can't just, I love the story.
That's the challenging
What
part.
was it?
Sometimes they're not.
Who wrote Good to Great? Was it Tom Peters?
No, Jim Collins.
My God,
Yeah.
Tom Peters as well.
Okay.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Sure, it's awesome. But yeah, but Jim Collins was on the Tim Ferriss podcast, and when he talked about fifth level leaders, it's like he writes this beautiful chapter. Fifth level leaders, they're the ones that eat last. They're the ones that are selfless. They're ones that put the team above the individual. And he said he had all these like sarcastic thank you letters coming into him, like, thanks a lot, Jim. My CEO just came in and said all of a sudden now he's a fifth level leader. It's like that does not come from a genuine place. But like if that's who you are and then the brand shows through, like of course, like I want to feel good about the vendors I'm working with. Of course I want someone who's like for a plumber. This is my home. This is where my family lives. This is where faith happens. This is where life happens. So of course, if someone's going to come in and when something breaks in my home, I want it to be right because this is more than a house.
Right. And I think that message not only resonates with people and is shareable on all the socials, but now we've seen that message is actually getting picked up by AI, right? So it's performing better if it's authentic.
Right.
If it's real, if the reviews back it up, if the other social posts back it up.
Right.
And so, but I think that's the benefit of you and I. I did this the other day. I was like, because I always have the thing, I was like, we're not the cheapest out there. You guys are not the cheapest out there, but I would argue that we're the best. I would argue that you guys are the best, right? But the beauty of it is like, there's about 600,000 like agencies similar to us, and there's another like 600,000 to 800,000 like kind of creative, nuanced, whatever agencies. So there's 2 million. There's 2 million in America to choose from, right? Here we go. The clients that we can work with are endless, and we don't need them all. And so like we can pick and choose. It's a beautiful thing in the sense of like aligning with someone and aligning with people that actually are, that have that. It's pretty cool. It's just, I mean, you're all like your clients are all over the US.
Yeah, all over.
And so am I. And so it's neat to be able to like actually align with people that are like-minded, that value the things that you value. Be able to do business like.
Do you have a storytelling framework that you could share like practically for everyone watching? I mean, is there something?
I wish we did. That's a great question. We have a way that we do things.
Okay.
So we build a strategy first.
Yeah.
And it comes with 2 questions. One, what do you want to do?
Yeah.
This comes from Jesus from Nazareth.
Okay.
He asked, what do you want?
Okay.
He's talking to the woman at the well. Like,
yeah.
He's like, we know you want to get healed.
Yeah.
But he's going to ask. It's like, he wants you to engage and be involved. It's like, what do you want? And where do you add value? And so we look at like, all right, what do you want? What do you want to have happen? All right. And then where can you actually add value to someone? So that's the strategy. And so we build the strategy all around that. And we execute on the creative. And so we kind of build this creative and execute on all that stuff. And I execute. There's 4 things and I'm forgetting what one of them is. And the results is the last thing.
Yeah.
Measure the results along the way.
Okay.
So I'm the strategy portion. I'm not the.
Yeah. No, you're out after that. You guys got this all right.
I do. Because I'm not great at the execution part.
Right.
I'm really good at building a strategy. I'm really good at kind of seeing through all the fog. I'm not great. It's like I was telling with the SEO stuff. Like I was really good on the creative front and like the technical side.
Yeah.
That's what JD's great for.
Yeah.
And that's what Drake is really.
It was really funny. We did a team building exercise today. So all 35 employees, team members at Sure Oak, we all got on a call. And Lauren, my chief of staff, she's awesome at this stuff. But she says, what would your warning sign be? Like, so if you had to hung around, there's a warning sign.
It's a great question.
And, it was funny. It was so yours is like, I do strategy. I don't do like that's Mack's warning sign. Mine was often wrong, but never in doubt. Like, I'm just kidding. I'm just charging in confidently.
Did you say that?
Yeah.
That's a good, that's a humble statement. That's good.
But Lauren goes, but you admit when you're wrong. I'm like, yeah, but that's not the point. I have lots of ideas and I think they're all great.
Yeah. And that's been a growth thing for me too. I was telling this story the other day. Like I remember when we were doing because I was a designer first and we had a website designer on staff and he was better than me.
Yeah.
He was definitely better than me. I was young. I was 29 or 30 and I knew it all. And like one of my PM at the time, she's like, why don't you let him design the thing? And I was like, I don't know. And I like went on a run and I was like, I need to let him do it. Maybe he let go because it's better. But I think that just comes with maturity, right?
Yeah.
It's like learning what you're best at, what you're not, and what you can be like.
Yeah.
And I think you do garner a lot more respect when it's like, I don't have all the answers here. Let's figure it out.
Yeah.
That's when I go into client. I mean, we just started working with this incredible company up in Canton. And I say this all the time. I'm like, look, like you have legacy knowledge in your business that we don't know anything about. And yes, we know how to build a strategy, and yes, we know how to execute on content and create great, beautiful content, and then get results and all that stuff. But there's so much that we don't know that we need to learn. And so us working together, we're going to make great stuff together. If I have to work and infer stuff on like your own, like it's not going to work great, vice versa. And so, yeah, I mean, I think that's a beautiful way to approach a relationship because it creates ownership on both sides, right? It's like there is a part that you have to play in this as well. I need you. Like I need the legacy knowledge of that to make it better.
So what do you want? Where do you add value? But then, in there, just tell me your story. I'll do something with it, right? Because 100% chance every time we come into engagement, you're not telling your story in a way that matches the intent of what's out there. That's what I love about digital marketing. It's just a supply and demand game, right? Yeah. Some demand wants your supply, and I'm sure it's amazing. So,
but so what do you want? Where can you add value? What are you best at? And then out of that, what we've found is there's typically one thing people care about. And so finding that one thing is the next like several months.
Give me an example of the one thing.
So like an app that you use, or like you were telling me you use CapCut earlier. Yeah. Who's the person that does that?
Roberto.
I would bet you that Roberto or you, when you found CapCut, you were like, oh, it's really cool because it does. And there's one thing. Yeah. It could do like 100 things.
Exactly.
But that's the thing that people talk about.
Yeah.
Like ChatGPT, for example, it has just gone wild with like my wife. She's 40. All of her friends like are using ChatGPT for like building playlists for songs, building whatever they do.
Recommendations.
Stuff. Yeah. And it's like, do you think that's what ChatGPT does?
No.
Book recommendations?
No, it's probably breaking it's doing protein folding.
So one thing, right, that they're interested in, and so like what we do is we try to find, I'll take a very real life world scenario. So this company we're working with is called the Furniture Guild. They build incredibly beautiful bathroom vanities, like $30,000 bathroom vanities. They're in 400 showrooms across the U.S.
Wow.
They work specifically with interior designers and architects. Right? So they have this configurator online where you can kind of build this whole thing yourself, custom. It's amazing. But there's one thing that they want in that. And it's either like the ease of use, or it's the way that you can incorporate sizing, or it's the fact that you can print it off with your own logo and show it to them, or that's like you can create your own line of vanities, like under their sub brand. You can create your own line as a designer. And so there's one thing that they really want, and we're in a discovery process. That was the second thing. So strategy, discovery, execute.
Discovery.
Yeah. I'm like, you put me on the spot.
Usually we'll get in post-production, but I don't think they care.
Strategy, discovery, execute, and then results. And so that's the discovery process. Yeah. So that's it's finding like, what is the one thing that people really care about? What makes that product, that service, that thing, that tick? And then everything else is just there. Yeah. But it's that one thing, like you use Riverside, and there's like probably one thing with Riverside that's great that you're like, oh, I love this. But it does like 100 tools. Because I've looked into Riverside. So
can we do our John Maxwell moment where like the speech ends and then like maybe transition to some stuff that's pretty deep for us? All right. You're a man of faith. I'm a man of faith. That's a big part of what we do in our work life. I read this book by Henry Kastner. I don't know if you've ever read it, Faith Driven Entrepreneur. And it turned my head pretty hard about what it means to be an entrepreneur, what it means. And he was very specific about it. It's not a Christian entrepreneur. It's a faith-driven entrepreneur, because a faith-driven entrepreneur realizes they live in a secular world, right? And we don't push Christian values on there, but we uphold this idea of bringing heaven to earth. And again, this may not be for everybody, but like this is important to us.
Half your
just turned it's totally fine. It's totally fine. And my company, obviously, all faiths, I'm on 4 continents. And so, but the idea is for me, when Brenda in Africa, like she was able to, have a career and she bought her grandmother a house. Jobs give dignities.
Yeah.
These places are, yes, we try to make money as entrepreneurs, but it's for like this higher calling. This idea is like I'm a steward of this company and I'm creating in the image of my creator. Where does being a Christian in the marketing world, where it can be really hard sometimes, where does that sit with you? Because you've done this a while, and there's so much changing society wise around us. I just kind of like, I'm just gonna dump it on you.
Yeah.
There's a big wet fish for you to deal with. Like, tell me, where's Max sit with all this? Because like I don't get this opportunity always to talk so openly about faith,
Sure.
and
Yeah.
you and I talk about it all the times. And we're like, we should put that on.
It's a great question. I think for me, I'm 47. I've been doing this for 25 years.
Young bug.
Yeah, I'm a young bug.
Yeah.
47 with twin 2-year-olds.
And let's think about it. If you
Let's think-
realize there's a God that's helping me.
Gosh, dude. What I have realized is that everybody is going through something. Most men, because I talk with mostly men founders, are trying to answer the question, do I have what it takes? They're trying to answer that through all the things they're doing in business, through all the things they're doing in life, whatever it is. And it's, do I have what it takes? And I think people in general they all have insecurities. They all have, they come to the table with all their stuff. For me, I don't have a problem asking the questions, asking direct questions. I was with a good friend the other day, very well off. Outside looking at him, I'd be like, this guy got all going on. And I was like, asking the question. I said, what are you insecure about? And financially, like set, like great place. And it was like, I don't know if I'll ever have enough to take care of my family. I don't know if I'm being the right dad, for my kids. And outside looking in, you're like, you've got that check.
Yeah.
But it's not about, does he have it checked or not? It's that we all have something. And for me, being like a follower of Jesus and my faith, I believe that Jesus is the answer. And I believe that casting my concerns, casting my cares on him and having a conversational daily walk with Jesus is the only way for me to get through all the stuff that we've been through and we're continuing to go through. And so when I meet with someone, like, I don't presume to know that. And I honestly, like, if you're dedicated to a faith, like, I'm not going to come push my views on you. But it doesn't matter if whatever your faith is, like, you're still wrestling with all that stuff. And so for me, I just ask the questions. And I'm not one to really boast about how great I am at whatever, but I will say the one thing that I really love to do and come alive doing is getting in the boat with you.
Yeah.
Getting in the junk with you. Had a really close friend of mine recently go through a divorce all last year. And every time we talk, like, he cries and he'll be like, you'll never know what it meant for you to walk alongside me. And, I'll get emotional. And like, it's a sweet thing. I had another friend that very closely this year, and thankfully they came out of it. It was incredible. But like, I love getting in the muck. I love getting in it because we all have it. We all have that stuff. And again, that's the human experience, right? It's just being human with someone. So for me, I live it out where I probably err a little too far on the personal side.
Yeah.
Because I do care.
Right.
And I know my life's echo is not going to be, how large did Max scale Campfire? How many deals did he bring in?
Yeah.
Who cares? At the end of the day, like, who cares? Like, I want my echo to be a lot bigger than that. And I think I'm using my business as a vehicle, not only to tell the stories and do all that, which is incredible, but to like really engage with the people and connect with them. And like, turnabout, like, our attrition is like 36 months. Like, our longest client to date was like 6.5 years. Our longest current client is like over 5 years. And like, we try to, we really do care. It's not a buzzword. Like, we really want to get in whatever it is. So, yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I think my team would say this about me. Like, I'm very transparent about my faith, but it's not, I don't have a KPI of like how many altar calls I had at the work, right? That's not what it's about. It's about, is this a place that has, grace and justice? Is this a place that is safe? Is this a place that, I can look to heaven and feel like I have a clean conscience that I'm doing right by these people? Am I creating opportunity? And because I think of the story of Abraham. Jordan Peterson was talking about this on Joe Rogan of all things, but like, it's like he pointed out something that was so true. Abraham was in his 70s and God comes to him, and at this point, Abraham's very wealthy. He's got lots of goats and lots of cattle, and lots of servants, and he's 70 years old. And God goes, I want you to go on the great adventure. I want you to go to this land I'm going to give you. And it's exactly that. It's like, and the reward will be unlimited resource. It's just like that scarcity mindset that he was living in at that point. He could have stayed, but he went on the great adventure. And I just look at, I think God loves the entrepreneur. I think he's going to use it to change society. You know, you see all the great changes happening from a commercial.
Yeah.
Is highly, you know, is from a commercial point of view. And to be able to speak into that. And for me, we had, this is really transparent. Like we had gambling clients when I bought the company. We had just like, that's just not.
Is that you?
Not me.
Yeah.
It's not what I don't think is, I don't like the terms, you know, sin stocks. There's guys that don't ever invest in sin stocks. But like, where do you draw that line? But for me, it was, like the plumbing business we were talking, like I get behind that all day.
Yeah.
I can get behind that.
Yeah.
All day. We work with, you know, SoFi and Informatica, big public traded companies. And like, that's great. I mean, I have nothing wrong with any of that, right?
Well, it's like what you want to put what you want in the world, right? And I think like maybe it's we're just getting older, but it's like I was talking to Alex, a guy, a buddy of mine. He's 23. He's getting married, you know, and I was telling him, I was like, you know, maybe I'm just at the point where I'm like, I'm looking at the latter, I mean, second half of my life, like, what do I want to do? What do I want to be, you know, building and creating in the world? And then there's nothing wrong, like those companies you name, there's nothing wrong with.
No.
If you want to do that, like, great, go do that. Yeah. I'm not about, I just, that's just not where I'm headed. I believe there's 3 core desires. There's a battle to fight, beauty to rescue, and adventure to live. And I think that I want to be furthering that message, right? And I think like I can attach to guys really easily that are trying to build something. I consider it an honor to be a part of someone's company that's going and doing that. Like, man, sign me up. I'm going to be like, I'll carry the pack. I'll do the whatever. But like, that's where my energy's going, right? Yeah. And so it's like, so on all fronts, man, like with my family and like with my wife, like with my wife, I always say, I want a best friend's marriage. And sometimes we have it, sometimes we don't, but like, that's where we're going. Like we want a best friend's marriage, right? With my kids, like I want to be that dad that I didn't like necessarily have. And I'm like, I want to do that. And I get it wrong and I get it right. And I'm like, but that's where I'm going, you know? And so like, I'm lucky to play golf once every quarter. It's great. You know? But outside of that, I'm like, you know, Saturdays, you're not going to find me at, you know, whatever.
Yeah. That's hard. Hey, honey, I'm taking 4 hours on a Saturday.
Oh my gosh, dude. Could you imagine? My wife's great. I did play golf.
I'm sure she would let you, but I'm sure the guilt would.
I don't know. We got baseball, gymnastics, and now soccer.
Oh, you're in it, man. So my kids are leaving though. Everyone's 2 of my 3 are going to be in college next year. And I don't mean, I got 15-year-olds. Soon as she gets in a car, I mean, you know, I'm going to have to Gabby and I are going to have to rediscover how to like communicate and date again. I don't feel old enough to be.
You're not old enough. You're not that.
Yeah. Yeah. So
this is great.
Dude, I love this, man. Always love talking to you. Do it again. Let's do that. So, Mack Kitchel, where can they find you?
Campfire.social. And then just look me up on LinkedIn, Mack Kitchel. Yeah, our URL is campfire.social. A lot of times people say campfiresocial.com, which is not us. That's an app. Or campfire.social.
Yeah. It's awesome, man.
So, yeah.
My brother.
Thank you.